Welcome, guys. So I want to talk you through two concepts that I have reflected upon recently that have played a huge role in my ability to acquire clients throughout my journey of entrepreneurship. This is not just in the industry that I'm working in now. This has been for agencies that I've run in the past. And I've really only kind of, reflected upon this recently. I hadn't kind of known this during those times where I was still doing outreach. I've really only reflected upon this in hindsight as I've kind of gone past that phase of needing to do outreach, and I'm kind of, spoke to a few different people in this space who aspire to be in the type of business that I'm doing, working with the types of clients that I'm working with. And yeah, only upon reflection, I've kind of looked back and gone, do you know what? All of those clients, or the majority of those clients that ended up being really good clients to me, I had signed them because of these two concepts, or it was influenced by these two concepts. Now, for those of you that don't know me, this is a completely new channel, just something I'm experimenting with, where I pick up the damn camera, I just talk straight to the camera with kind of what's on my mind at this present point in time. I do have a bit more of a structured channel, which goes over a little bit more about what it is that I actually do for a living and kind of the clients that I've worked with and this, that, and the other. So you can go click down in the description below to go and check that out. But to kind of fast track your process on understanding a little bit more about me and what it is that I do, I pretty much partner with, different types of creators and online, business owners that have high ticket offers, and I help them scale those offers, and I take a slice of the pie. Now, this has resulted in getting paid $20, $30, $40, $50,000 per month from these said clients. And the reason I say that is because that is life-changing fucking money. And it kind of reinforces the point of, this entire video, the concepts I'm going to go through, because you could truly be one client away or one opportunity away from totally changing your life, just from kind of shifting your mindset and paradigm towards outreach, right? A lot of people see it as this laboring task. A lot of people see it as this kind of dead end thing where you're just constantly doing this, action every single day without any tied outcome or, any evidence in your life of this thing working. So let's just dive straight into the two concepts that might put your mind at ease. They might want to make you throw your fucking phone at the wall. They might want to make you subscribe. Whatever they do, I hope that it helps you, or at least kind of supports you on your journey to remaining consistent and potentially landing that life-changing opportunity like I had done many, many years ago as a result of these two concepts. So concept number one, and this is something that I've actually heard nobody talk about when it comes to outreach. You get people talking about the systems, you get people talking about the outreach methods, you get people talking about the certain formats, what to say, when to say, how to present your offer. But there's one thing that I personally haven't heard a lot of people talk about, and that is timing. The time at which you send a message to a said person. I'm not talking about the fucking time of day. I'm talking about you getting a certain message to the right person at the right place and the right time. Now, if I reflect back, and again, I can only speak based on my experience, right? Obviously, I've signed clients where they weren't looking for a said thing. I'm talking about some of the greatest opportunities that have, came into fruition were because I was showing up every day and I landed in the right inbox at the right time with the right messaging. And this is why consistency beats everything, right? Because you get these guys and girls, but I was this guy where I would have this surge of fucking motivation to do a shit ton of outreach, and I would set myself super unrealistic goals. I'll be like, right, Env, every single day you're going to send 50 to 100 personalized XYZ. And it probably lasted 4 fucking days before I started stripping that down, got overwhelmed, overworked, and the rest of it, right? Just fucking burnt out. So I focused on this principle, which is consistency over intensity. And I actually learned this from one of my previous mentors, John Gabb. I'd worked with him many, many years ago, but it kind of stuck with me, right? And it's been such a quote or principle that I've been able to look back on and reflect on. And it's made true in so many different aspects of my journey. So consistency over intensity is focusing on the action itself instead of the amount of times you fucking do it or the intensity at which you deliver it by, whatever. You kind of get the idea. So what that basically meant from an outreach standpoint is let's focus on a number that I'm comfortable with achieving every single day instead of a number that really fucking pushes me. Now, this is for those of you that just want to actually get in, develop the habit and then you can kind of increase intensity over time, right? There's obviously been times where I've had mentors and, you know, we've been in a community-based setting and they've been like, guys, you know, I want you to start doing XYZ, let's do 10 per day. And I'm sitting there like, okay, well, if all these motherfuckers are doing 10 per day, I'm gonna do 50. Because really, like, if you do more, you're gonna get to the said outcome quicker, right? So that's another whole different principle in and of itself. But on the kind of topic of timing, it's like, you're never going to land the client with the right timing if you're just not putting the fucking reps in every day, right? And some of my best clients, like I said, I'd hit that inbox at the right time with the right messaging in the right way, that they were like, oh, do you know what? This is actually something I've been thinking about. This is actually something we've been looking for. I've landed clients where I'm talking about big whale clients, you know, 20, 30, 40K a month clients. This isn't no kind of, you know, small time client paying $1,000, $2,000 a month. These are life-changing opportunities, all because I decided to send the right message at the right time to the right person and remain consistent in my endeavor to, you know, acquire new clients. So timing is very important, right? And it's a concept that not a lot of people talk about. You're never going to hit the person that's looking for the service at the right time if you're not sending those messages in the first place. So the reason I want that to reframe your mind around outreach is that I don't want you to be too outcome focused, right? It's good to be focused on how many meetings you're booking, how many calls you're taking, how many deals you're closing and all this sort of stuff. But when you really just focus on the process and the numbers, the math of it, it's really just a numbers game, right? It's like any kind of sales guru, cold calling guru, door knocking guru. You probably would have heard this in the past. It's like, you know, every no gets you closer to a yes. And it's like, if I reflect back on my journey with outreach, if I knew 100% guaranteed that if I sent 281 messages or 281 looms or 281 voice notes that I was going to land a client, I would have been well on my way rushing to send those 281 messages, right? Because we have a guarantee in place, and it's like, that's not really how the human mind works. You know, this anxiety that we get, this uncertainty that we get is based on our ability or our inability to predict a certain outcome. You know, we can't predict based on how many messages we're sending when we're going to acquire that client. You know, when you've got the data, you've been doing it for years, obviously you can, because it's like, okay, well, this month I sent 300, this month I sent 100, that's how many calls I booked, that's how many, you know, calls I actually sat, that's how many deals I closed, XYZ. But when you're starting out and you don't have the data and you're like, right, look, I'm going to stick to X amount of, you know, messages per day, XYZ, and the doubts start creeping in, you're not getting any calls, you're not getting any responses. Those doubts, that uncertainty, those, you know, that lack of responses wouldn't affect you if you knew guaranteed that you were going to sign a client on the 281st outreach message, right? So really, it's not the outreach you have a problem with, it's your attachment to the outcome. It's your attachment to the daily outcome of the effort that you're putting in, because you're putting in this effort and you're not seeing the reward from it. But you have to train your mind to detach from the outcome. You have to train your mind to fall in love with the process. Not even fall in love with the process. Let's get rid of that saying. Just accept the process for what it is. You don't need to fall in love with outreach. You don't need to wake up positive and happy about sending these messages. Of course, it's going to help, right? It's definitely going to help. It's going to influence your feelings, your thoughts, the way that you show up. But ultimately, it's just detaching from the outcome. Understanding that, you know, a lot of the times it could be a timing thing. And you're only going to land those clients as a timing thing if you're doing the thing, right? And, you know, when I talk about kind of the guarantee to set outcomes and this, that, and the other, it's like, if you really fucking sat there and did outreach and hit decent numbers every single day for 90 days in a row, and you still haven't landed a client or at least significantly changed your position in business, there's something fucking going on, right? There's something wrong. You might be sending the wrong messages or whatever else might be, right? I guarantee you that there's not a single person on this planet that has sent at least 20 personalized messages per day for 90 days and has not changed their life or signed a client from it. I'm willing to bet money on it, right? So as simple as it sounds, there's a bunch of gurus out there, there's a bunch of people who will say that, you know, you need to buy this course, this mentorship to be able to learn the way to do this, do that, do this. It's like, just understand the fundamentals, right? for me, I can only speak for myself. What helped for me was, personalization in the approach of messaging these individuals and just showing up every day, getting the reps in, detaching from the outcome. And I say detaching from the outcome, I'm coming from a place of, I was really in the fucking shit. And I had really kind of rewired my brain through meditation, through breath work, through visualization, through journaling to detach from the outcome despite actually having bills to pay, having my back against the wall, not being able to afford rent and all this host of other stuff. Like, I've done a few videos on Instagram, on YouTube about my journey and this, that, and the other. I won't really get into it now, but it's far harder to detach from the outcome when the outcome is pretty much life or death, right? Not life or death, but you kind of get the gist. But yeah, guys, just a bit of again, talking my mind, no particular intention with these videos as of yet. I've kind of just, I do the more structured stuff on my other YouTube channel. You can find that link in the description, but I've always wanted to have a channel where I can just talk about my journey, talk about things that have helped me and hopefully will help you without any type of format or outcome tied to it, right? So yeah, I'm going to continue to post these videos as and when. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram, I'll have my Instagram link in the description. Go ahead, drop me a message. Happy to go back and forth voice notes with any questions that you may have. And I'll see you on the next one.